Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to the most outrageous moments from Beyond Scared Straight. Now, I've seen a couple of compilations like this before, and honestly, Scared Straight or Beyond Scared Straight is one of my most entertaining shows I've ever seen. Just because the concept of it, you're taking, young people who are, getting into a lot of trouble, and you're trying to kind of put the fear into them not to come to prison. I imagine it's probably quite hit and miss in terms of results, but just seeing it on TV is just fascinating, hilarious. Some of these prisoners get really up in their faces of these young people. This one here, I'm hoping it's going to be just as jaw-dropping as some of the other ones I've seen. So let's do it.
Put him in the chair. Sit him down in that. Let you feel it.
This is a restraint chair. If you come into the facility and you want to act like an idiot, you're placed in a restraint chair.
Oh my God. No thanks.
There have been some pretty insane moments on Beyond Scared Straight during the show's run, which is to be expected when you consider the premise: sending teens that are delinquents into jail to try and reform them. Number 10. When the kids' cells were opened for the inmates. Inmates can be scary when they see these kids. It's like they decide to be mean bullies when the kids are around for the jail program. In this scene, the kids were in the cells to spend the night. The inmates were screaming at the kids as they were wandering to the prison ground. As a tradition, they banged the cell doors screaming at the kids. This is part of the jail program, and it's important for the kids to have the feeling of what prisoners look like. It was aimed to discourage the kids from committing crimes and fear of going to jail. If you watch this part of the series, you'll understand how scary and aggressive the inmates are. The cell doors were suddenly opened and the inmates entered to torment the kids even more. Now, it was normal for the inmates to talk to the kids, but these aggressive inmates were with the kids without the supervision of any guards.
The thing is, how do you trust the inmates that they're not gonna, harm the young people? Like, I'm trying not to say, KIDS, because I don't want to trigger any kind of AI that's gonna, put this video in trouble, but like, what if they get in there and they hit him, punch him, start fighting him?
It was a very crazy moment as the kids and audiences were so scared to death. Thankfully, a guard showed up with a gun to control the situation.
Oh my God. Crazy.
Number 9. When a kid thought Twin was an actor. It's funny how these kids joke with the program at first and end up crying later on. In this video, Twin, a prisoner who was arrested for probation violation and trafficking, was brought to have a session with the kids. While she was giving her warm-up drill, an officer pointed to a girl who thought Twin was an actor. Twin took the girl aside under the supervision of another officer. She screamed into the girl's face, telling her to do a workout. It took less than a minute for Twin to force tears out of the girl. Then she knew that shit was real. She proceeded to other kids, talking to them one by one.
She's yelling right at her, so the spit is just flying on her face. That's so gross.
Must have a special talent for making kids cry, because every kid she talked to on the episode cried. When it looked like it was impossible to break one girl, she brought an assistant, and together they forced tears out of her eyes. Twin must be related to Tiffany Hiss, because she talked and acted exactly like her. Her talk session was so crazy that even the officers were restraining her from touching the little girl.
Bitch, you don't say a thing, but your mama Lady Tino, like I gave a. Come on. I'm saving you right now. Saving her punk ass. Put your hand down.
Number 8. The inmate being extracted. When juveniles think being stubborn and acting like a gangster is cool, Beyond Scared Straight has implemented the perfect program for that. In this video, the kids were taken on a tour to see an inmate being extracted from a cell because he wouldn't go the easy way. About 4 to 5 officers were in his cell as they tasered him, forced him into the chair, and tied him. As this was going on, the officers told the kids that, "You don't have a choice when you're in here. You do what you're told. You don't want to move? We'll make you move like this."
You don't have a choice.
Do you see that guy pulling on the bars? He looked crazy.
Want to move? We'll make you move like this.
Look at him.
You don't have a choice when you're in here. You do what you're told. It's not up to you where you're housed. You don't want to move? will make you move like this.
Number 7.
Man,
when the
prison
inmates
looks
circled
horrible.
the boy who hit his mom.
What?
This scene was insane and funny. A little boy was brought to the Beyond
hit
Scared
your
Street
mom.
because he
Why?
hit his mother. The officer took him to a place full of inmates. The officer started shouting on the kid for hitting his mom, and when the inmates heard, without being told, they hovered around the kid and took him over from the policeman. They carried him with his jacket, asking him why he hit his mom. He said it was a form of self-defense, but they weren't hearing it. They continued to shout and probe him. They warned him never to touch his mother again, and he said he was going to hug and apologize to her when he got home.
What you gonna do?
As soon as I see my I'll go through hell. I'll go through hell.
That's all.
He's so scared. He is terrified, and I don't blame him. You know, surrounded by all these like prisoners, they're probably in there for like life and stuff.
You got is your mama. Don't you understand that?
Number 6. When a kid was forced to comb an inmate's chest hair.
Oh yeah, I remember
This
this
is another
one.
funny
Oh.
and slightly insane
So
moment on Beyond
emasculating.
Scared Straight. It happened when the inmates were brought to talk to the kids as usual. A man on a white singlet was his first to start
Hustle man, I remember him. He's like a triple lifer or something. Hold
talk
on.
to the kids as usual. A man on a white singlet was
First degree murder. Fuck that. Forget it.
his first to start with his motivational talk. Soon the chest hair inmate came up
Motivational
with his
talk.
orange jumpsuit. He started telling them what he would make them do when they eventually got imprisoned for a crime. He told a kid to get up on his feet, then he opened his jumpsuit to reveal his chest hair. He said if the kids get jailed, he was going to make them comb his chest hair. Then he gave David, one of the kids, a comb to run the comb through it. The kid was shocked and scared as the other inmate shouted for him to comb the chest hair. David was
Oh my
almost in
God.
tears as he was combing it. The inmate didn't care. He even told him to comb it gently without hurting him. The comb was passed to the other kid to replicate the action, but the boy refused. The inmate with the white singlet got so angry that he threatened to beat the boy, but he was thankfully taken away. We all know what would have happened if he handled the boy.
It's so emasculating though. Comb my chest hair. Oh.
Give him the comb, man. Make him comb bitch.
You know what?
Open it up. Comb his chest. Comb his chest right now.
I'll beat your ass. Man, let me go, man. Man, let me go, man. I'll beat your ass. Let me go. Tell me up there, let me go.
Bitch ass.
Man, horrible.
Number 5.
Horrible.
When the kids were taken to see an inmate. The officers
What
of the
the
jail
fuck?
program do a good job of scaring these kids and making them see what they could end up as if they don't put a stop to their unlawful acts. On this tour, the kids were taken to a man in solitary. The man is suspected to have a mental disorder. He was tied into the chair and his mouth was covered. He screamed despite this as the kids were brought before him.
Is he genuinely like have they told him to do that? I feel like the officers might have told him to behave like that.
He tried to break free from the chair. This crazy scene was to show the kids the effect of drugs and fighting.
Look at it.
Come on.
Get up here.
Well, you might
You like
end
to
up.
fight? This is where you end up. You like to fight? He likes to fight.
Number 4.
You like
the
to
moment
fight, he
laundry
likes to
guy. Kids were taken to the prison laundry. A boy was in tears and this irritated the inmate. He told him not to call him sir and gave him some instructions about the laundry. The officer asked if he wanted to answer to someone like the inmate or his parents. The inmate later addressed the rest of the kids one by one and they kept referring to him as sir. He got so pissed that he threatened to kill the next kid that called him sir.
Oh my God.
You got brothers and sisters?
Yes, sir.
Don't call me sir. The next one of you little maggots calls me sir, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill one of you. Let me the first child.
Number 3, when an inmate had a weird talk session. When kids are taken on tour, they're allowed to see and hear almost everything in the prison, so inmates are not restricted or told to filter their words. Since the series is not scripted, they're
Like, has anyone seen the show Banshee? Doesn't he look a bit like the albino? I think that was what he was called. The albino. He looks just like him.
There are occasions for some weird conversations. The inmate in this video started his session by telling the kids that the jail is his house. A kid boldly asked him where he was going to go if he got out of jail. He got offended by the interruption and asked for his age. He acknowledged that he had seen him and that he was going to come for him when he gets out of jail. The kid started smiling and it angered the inmate even more. He asked the boy if he knew what a manpoon was. He explained that it was a period where one has to take toilet paper for as long as 2 days after being raped. Immediately, the smile cleared off the boy's face. He continued to creep the boy out as he made sexual comments about his teeth. He told the boy to suck on his tongue, too. He also declared that there were many of the inmates that would make him kiss them.
You know what a man-pon is? A man-pon's where you gotta take toilet paper 2 days after being so you think you get a pretty good idea. That's a man-pon. Can you handle a man-pon?
Number 2, when Lee tried to punch a guard. 13-year-old Lee was into drugs, fighting, and graffiti. The girl tried to punch a guard during a training exercise. While the kids were forced to jog in place.
Why is she instigating? She's right up in her face. Like, why have you got to get up in her face? Look how close.
While the kids were forced to jog in place, Lee had her fist folded while up for a punch. And then the guard asked if she wanted to hit him. "Hit me if you want to," the guard said. She threw the punch, but missed.
Hey.
Get up.
Turn around.
Get up.
Turn around. Cover up.
Number 1, when a boy got strapped on a restraint chair. It would be easy if these kids would just learn easily. Unfortunately, these kids don't always learn the easy way. That's why they're in the program. A female teen was strapped into the restraint chair for disobeying orders. The restraint chair is a chair that restricts movement, and it's meant for stubborn kids. The teenager had refused to eat what was served. At first, they locked her in a cell alone, but this method didn't break her fierceness and food refusal, so they resorted to the restraint chair, which seemed to work just well enough.
Put him in the chair. Sit him down in that. Let you feel it.
The narrator kept saying her. I was thinking, that's not a girl. Like, and they're referring to him as him.
Restraint chair. If you come into the facility and you want to act like an idiot, you're placed in a restraint chair.
That ends our list for today of 10 beyond.
That first one, I mean, like, it might not have been the first, maybe it was like the third, where they let the inmates run up in the cell where the kid was. Like, I was like, that is such a risk. I mean, unless, because even if you trust these inmates, even if they've been extremely well behaved for an extended period, they might snap. Like, I can't believe they actually did that, you know. But I'm sure that gave that kid a real fright, you know. They're not going to forget that anytime soon, and a lot of these young people need stuff like this, because if they're left to their own devices, they're going to end up in prison permanently, properly, you know. So yeah, to be honest, as crazy as the show is, maybe it's for the best. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.